Hey everyone! So earlier tonight, I just saw Alien Romulus, the latest installment in the long-running franchise, which has Ridley Scott back as producer, though this time directed duties are handed by a franchise newcomer Fade Alvarez, and it stars Kaylee Spaney, hey David Johnson, and Isabella Merced, among others. So let's begin. The story takes place between the events of the original Alien in 1979 and its 1986 sequel Aliens, and definitely captures the style and close to style and tone of those two, who in turn terms of both the sheer horror aspects of them both. I mean, with a relative cast of newcomers attempting to steal a piece of tech from what's left of the Nostromo, as well as the derelict space station known as Romulus, with another substation named Remus. I see what you did there. There. And here they encounter something much more deadly than they had envisioned, and even though I did appreciate the swings that the previous two installments took, look, I totally understand why they're going back to basics, and the proposed initial treatment for the third movie and that continuity is now being retooled for TV or streaming. It seems to be a co-production between FX and Hulu, as I heard of it, with Noah Hawley on board, but I'm getting ahead of myself. And while I initially wasn't sure about this being the best one in decades, means initially I thought it'd be good given and the talented young cast they've chosen, and I still think Marista's going to make a great Hawk Girl in DCU. Who the even though I wasn't a huge fan of George's previous films, I understand that he himself definitely has immense talent as a filmmaker. He definitely understands what makes horror effective, especially in relation to this material. That what you don't say is important. What you do. I mean, like they never fully explain what the heck happened on the Romulus, as though they do connect it to the from the previous installments and future ones in chronology to this one. And I mean, once I put it really laying down, I started to see where the praise was coming from. Admittedly, the first act has, or at least the opening sequence on this Wayland Tony mining colony, does drag a bit. And some of the his subtext is quite heavy-handed, as it often is in Alvarez's work. But once they actually get to the Romulus, it starts to pick up, and the classic kind of horror that made even other installments didn't enjoy as much stand out. And was easily the most effective element of the previous two installments in 2012 and 2017, at least for me in hindsight. I still appreciate this one so creatively too, but I totally understand why Fox and Alvarez decided to pare things back this time around, and not just in terms of scope and tone. They're still leveling out the budget due to all the tax work being finalized, but I the most I've seen estimates in the ballpark of $60 to $70 million, $80 million at the most, which is still under the $120 million spent on Prometheus and the $97 million on Covenant. And again, I also get what they did there with this kind of convention. Prometheus, Covenant, and now Romulus. There is some digital work done here, but it's not overpowering. They definitely have gone something like a Fury Road or Force Awakens approach, where, in terms of visual presentation, where they only use CG when they absolutely have to, and focus mainly on building sets, using practical effects work. Not just classic favorites who come to know and love, like the face huggers and the xenomorph brood, the alien pupae that emerged from someone's chest, but they also remix ideas from previous installments that didn't exactly pan out before, but were presented in a much more interesting context here especially into how they come in their own ways of one. I won't get into all the minutiae here, which will give an idea of how it threw me for a loop. Which also brings me to a bit of a spoiler here. Here, I won't say which character the character happens to for the original film, but I will say that they kind of took a Rogue One approach where they digitally recreated, hated an actor's likeness of someone who is no longer with us, as though at the very least their family did consent to the idea, which is vital if you must do it. Since I cannot be certain if AI was involved in recreating the performance either, but as I said before, whenever it looks particularly dodgy, it would not surprise me if it was. Especially since have been lots of sell-offs lately. Like there's some concern the bubble may be bursting as we speak, but getting ahead of myself. That aside, the movie is definitely another strong film in the franchise, one that I believe honors its legacy while also building a foundation for its future. And yes, in many respects, we'll agree that does make the best unofficial adaptation of the Alien Isolation game I've seen so far. I even reinstalled it on my PS4. I'm going to be playing more of it soon. Just looked at a walkthrough online, get my power stuck on, so there's that. Music by Benjamin Wolfish is also quite fantastical, I would say. He's a composer I've actually liked it quite a while now. And there is, as per usual, some critique at the complex, especially with the whole handling Wayne Yutani, which is especially makes especially the way this add extra hours to their employees' timetable definitely makes that line from the original more and more true. I don't know which piece is worse. Something don't choose easily them fucking each other over a percentage. Admittedly, some of the characters did come off almost kind of cartoonish. Even though it was not the same android that ended up making a faulty judgment call and a mind collapse, I still felt this one person's animosity towards Andy was a bit hit much for me personally, which I know Alvarez was hoping that because the cast was younger, it would basically elicit more of a shock for when they get offed. But in that particular instance, I was one of the people who actually was cheering when the acid blood got him. Especially as there were a couple moments that I would have liked to have happened sooner. But yeah, I believe melted by acid, it is sufficient. And so, while I cannot say this is my favorite movie that I've seen this whole summer, I'd say it's on the list, and it's definitely one I'm glad to use a cap off the season, especially as I'm working on getting stuff ready for September. Other stuff coming, like say, I'm looking forward to going to Transformers 1 and also getting in Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Certainly be more satisfied with those and with this than I would be with Borderlands, because again, on top of potential 70 25% drop at minimum. There were only two people going to see that compared to this movie, and it took them 10 minutes before they jumped ship to this one instead, which kind of tells you all you need to know. Okay, also, I'd like to point out that there's not going to be coming attractions this time. None of the ones I saw stood out at me. I might post what I thought my community tab later, but I'm mostly going to be focusing on a couple of them that are going to be coming out in the future. So my final rating, after giving some thought, is a sufficiently a stellar 3.5 stars out of 4 or 4.5 stars out of 5, and we'll see you all again soon. So take care, everyone.